let's begin. This is me. I do things. This is the best bit. My website, SQLDBA with beard.com. My Twitter, SQLDBA with beard. Not because I forgot about it, but because Twitter's got a 15-character limit. So the first time I changed my name, I became SQLDBA with a bear. Tempted to keep it. Anyway, I do stuff. Today we're going to talk about dbareports. dbareports was released on Friday. There are some kinks in it. My lab died last Saturday. My lab died today. So we may have some demos, or we may just talk about stuff. It relies on PowerBI, so we're going to talk to the cloud. So yeah, it's going to be fun. So, what problem are we solving? What problem specifically am I solving with this? Oh, questions. Questions. Managers and project managers and compliance and auditors and other DBAs and Jeff, especially Jeff. How many of those have you got? Where are they? What is it? This started when I joined a company as a DBA team manager. And I'd been there about 3 weeks. And on my second day, I'd sat down with the guys and said, hey, how many servers have you got? They went, nah, about 300. I said, how many databases have we got? And they said, 3,000, 4,000, something. I'm the new boss here, so right. Something you need to know about me. I like precision, guys. So, one thing we need to do is we need to know precisely how many we've got. And then a horrible, sinking, nasty feeling that any DBA will know came down my back. And I said, how do we know that they're all backed up? And all four of the guys went, about
So,
oh, you too? Yeah.
We should have changed the filter maybe. So. No.
So, about a week and a half later, one of the security guys came to me. He said, hi, you're the new DBA team lead. Yes, yes I am. He said, great. He said, can you tell me how many servers we've got in Bolton? And I went, no, hang on a minute. Guys, how many servers have we got in Bolton? Do we know how many servers? How do we tell? Oh, right, yeah, well, we've got this naming convention, so all the ones that are named like this, they're in Bolton. And then Jeff pipes up, no. Because those three that you think are in Bolton, they're not in Bolton. And those other two that are over there, you think they're in Newcastle, but actually they're in Bolton. Right, okay. So we got all this information together. And we go back to the guy and say, there's 55. Great, thanks very much. Off he goes. Back to work. About 20 minutes later, comes back again. He said, hey, there were 55 servers in SQL servers in Bolton. I said, yes. He said, can you tell me how many have got XP Command Shell enabled? I'm like, yeah, sure, hang on a minute. Guys, that list we've got, we need to go through it. Oh, I didn't save it. Right, let's get it back. So we got it back and we iterated through and we found out which ones have got XP Command Shell enabled true, and we wrote it down and we gave it back to him and he said, great. I said, is that all? Yeah, that's all. 20 minutes later, I kid you not, honestly, this really happened. Came back, he said, yeah, all of those. He said, I need to know which one of those is SQL 2005, because SQL 2005 is going out of support. Right. Got the list? Yes, we saved the list. Results. Iterate through the list. There's your SQL 2005 ones. Is that it? Yeah, you sure? Yeah, great. Is this really important? Yeah. I've got to do this report for group. It's really important. I've got to get back today. It's highly important. Where you guess? You guessed it. Half an hour later, he says, I need to know all of the versions that are in Bolton that have got XP command shell enabled. True. Goodness sake. Right, so we get the list and we give it off to him. All in all, I reckon that probably took in time about 4 hours. In man hours, about 14 or 15 man hours to answer that question. And this is the bit about context switching. Because for every time that he came back where we were doing something and he interrupted us and stopped us doing it, not only did he stop us doing that work, but then he affected the amount of time it took us to get back into doing what we were doing. That's the impact of context switching. You know, when you're sat zoned in and you're working on your code and you've got your headphones on and your hat that says don't disturb, and which just seemed to me, it's like a light bulb that goes, come and disturb me. You're in that zone and you're like, I know, I think I know where this problem is. Oh, wait, I can really solve this. And somebody disturbs you. When you go back to it, you're like, where was I? That's your context switch. So, this wasn't good enough. But I also had this. This is one of my favourite early PowerShell scripts that I wrote. And what it did was it iterated through a list of SQL servers every morning. It went and created an Excel sheet, because we all know management like colours. Green is good, red is bad, brown is, we're not quite sure. Yeah. And it put it in a share, so that it meant that every morning we could come into work, open up the Excel sheet, piss through, red one, stop, let's have a look at that. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way. We've got to get rid of all this Excel. How about if the DBA team walked in and on the back screen was something like this? We all know management really like pretty graphs and things to click on. And lines that tell them whether we're doing good or whether we're doing bad. This is almost an exact representation of what we had on our back wall. And our management loved it. Because I can say, look, that red spike there, that's when the sand fell over. That's when all the backups failed. That's the impact of that. Oh, no, I didn't know that. That's why we spent this day mainly fixing this stuff. I didn't get anything that you wanted done. Oh, right. But it gets even better if you can put it into PowerBI.com, which hopefully I'll be able to show you. Because PowerBI.com allows you to use natural language question and answers. So we can turn that one question, which leads to another question, into a, here's your buffet, go and choose what you want. Yeah, you want to walk along, you want pancakes, and you want syrup, and you want bratwurst, and you want steak, go ahead. You want Black Forest Gatto? Have it. I know as a DBA that information is valid and accurate and up to date, and you know that you can be coming and asking it every time you like. And this is what we needed. I'm a DBA, so I use SQL Servers all day. I love PowerShell, so PowerShell is the obvious tool to use, to automate, to gather, to do all of it. Use Power BI, and the only reason I started to use Power BI is because my friend Terry did a demonstration on open data, and I was sat there and he said, Power BI is so easy, even Rob could do it. So I thought, right. But this one is the most important. And this bit of paper is what you'll need. Because no matter how good your documentation is, no matter how well updated it is, unless you're automating it, it's going to go out of date. When you take over 15 companies and they all have different naming conventions, you're not going to be able to keep up with it. When Jeff comes in to fix something, because it's broken, and actually we need to move it from the Bolton data center and put it in the Exeter data center to make it work, but he doesn't update the documentation because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and he's trying to get stuff fixed, suddenly anything you've got is out of date. So that was the bit that took the time. I had a 30-year experienced DBA who had the grunt all the time. And this didn't help because I spent all my time going, no, what about this? 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 We got there in the end. We got all of this information. We knew we had a good starting place. And this is what we did. We filled this table. This table says, give me a server name, give me an instance name, a port. At that point, we wanted an AG flag, but we moved on from it. Is it inactive? This is really useful because management like to see progress. So all those SQL 2005 boxes, I could then say 6 months later, yeah, we did have 45 of them. Now we've only got 4. And they support these clients doing these things in these data centers. The environment is whatever it is that we want to call it. So production, or live, or test, or UAT, or QA, or DAT, or DQC. I've heard many different ones. But whatever it is that we need it to be to locate it. Location. In our environment, that was where the data center was. We had 15 data centers. We needed to know where stuff was so that we could go and turn it off if we needed to, or identify it in some way. Because we had a data center that we needed to power down for UPS work, we were able to go, these are the list of servers, these are the list of clients. We can turn all of these ones off because they're dev and test. So we've only got these ones left. You know when the clients stop using them, so we know when we can do that. Great. Took the DBA team 30 minutes. Took the system admin team 3 weeks. And the application team about the same. Because they didn't have that information, they didn't know where it all was. So they started using something like this. And we got a non-contactable. Because we all work in environments now where data is important. Really important. Might be PCI, might be legal, might be health, might be secure in a government type way. And for those sort of servers, you might not have one central place where you can go and connect to them. You'll have an RDP session where you go through to that port and then you've got to get through to this other one and then you've got to stand your head in the corner and sing Merry Christmas backwards to get through to this particular place. But we still want to have this information. So we've got a non-contactable flag which says don't go and automatically gather information from here, but trust what I put in for you. Ain't so manual anymore. Used to be that it was manual. Now we've got dbareports. It's as simple as add dbr server to inventory, pick the SQL instance, pick the port if you want to, otherwise we'll go and grab it, an environment, and a location, and that'll just put it into the database. Once it's in the database, up at the top we've got a load of PowerShell scripts which just iterate through the instances. And we then populate a load of tables. So we've got some server information, we've got some SQL instance level information, information about databases, the agent jobs that have been running. These are important things for DBAs, but they're also important things for change managers and auditors and project management, application teams. They all need to know this sort of information. So we make it completely open to them. And we say, go for it. We can query it with PowerShell. If I need to update all of the job owners for a certain client to a different owner, as long as I know the query to go and grab them out of that instance list table, I can very simply and easily iterate through with PowerShell and update it. We can use T-SQL because we're DBAs, we like T-SQL. Some application development guys know SQL. Some management people still know how to write T-SQL. Now they've moved away from being that. Makes them feel important. You can install SSMS on their machine. So yeah, go query it, enjoy it. They feel important. But best of all, PowerBI.com. Absolutely best of all. Give it to the people, let them help themselves, it's their buffer. And now these are lovely users that we all love and adore. They're no longer bothering us in the DBA team. They can just go straight there, sort themselves out, get the answers to their questions in whatever format they like, and leave us to sit and drink coffee. No, get on with more important work. Provide value to the business. So it must be time for a demo. She's not even looking. My demo pitch is killed with the rules.
Come on, where's that cable? No signal.
No signal. Come back, wherever you are. Yeah, we decided we don't want to duplicate. Okay. So, these are the boxes, these are the servers I've got running on my little NUC here, which is running Hyper-V, which I've broken twice in the last week. So it may or may not carry on working. Interestingly, this one is a DNS container, running the DNS from my entire Active Directory. As you can see, some of them are broken. We've kept those ones turned off. So all we need to do is import our module. And it gives us all of these commands. Install dbareports. Looks like a good start. Let's install dbareports on the SQL Server 2016 Node 1. We'll call the database function dbareports and an install path in the temp directory. Just to show, nothing up my sleeves. Only DBA reports, it's been sat there for a while, nothing else. Would you like to create a database? Yes, please. Would you like to create a proxy account to run your services, your agents? So this is important if we need to have a single account with low privileges to be able to go out and grab the information from various boxes. But for right now, I know that my agent service account is running under something that can go and grab stuff. And what we do now is lose our drink. Wow, that's amazing. Very simply, all this PowerShell is doing is creating a database. We're creating some stored procedures and some table types to load our data. We are creating some agent jobs to gather our information. We're scheduling our agent jobs for the right times. The default times are between 4 and 5 in the morning because that's normally a pretty good time to go and gather information. And then we're installing it and we're getting some config. All of that is automatically done. You don't even need to know SQL, you just need to have access to it to be able to do it. We're trying to do this in the best way that we possibly can. We've got dbatools that's doing a lot of SQL migration and best practice stuff for DBAs using PowerShell. And we're trying to make this do the same sort of thing for gathering the information and reporting on it. Our DBR config, you can tell it's changed name in the last week, is just a JSON file holding the information about our configuration for our DBA reports so that we can go back and make use of that with some of our other functions. You will have noticed there was an install DBR client command, which will also go through and create this JSON file somewhere where, if you're doing it on a different machine from the one where you installed DBA reports in the beginning. And we've got the version, the SQL Server that we're using, what the database is called, what the agent account is, where we installed it and where our logs were. So, if we jump back into our SQL Server, refresh, we've got our database, we've got all of our tables, we've got nothing in them at the moment. But this instance list table is going to be our source of truth. So what we need to do now is add some servers to it. So we've got a list of servers there, just in an array. We're currently building, or we currently have an idea to build to be able to automatically generate this from CMS, which is a way a lot of DBAs use to manage their servers. I find it very inflexible, but lots of DBAs use it. So we're going to take that and magic it into being able to add it into the DBR inventory. So we grab our array, and we've decided, well, I've decided, we're going to call the environment demo lab. And we're going to put the location inside the nook because it seems to kind of make sense. Then you hit go. And there we go. That's added 8 servers to the inventory. It's also started some jobs to go and gather some information automatically. And as you can see, it's giving us some information about what it's gathered. It's automatically gone and chosen the computer name, but we don't trust the name that you've given it. It might be the name you connect to with SQL, might not be the DNS name of the machine. So we automatically go and gather that and make sure it's correct. So those are the jobs that we've created. Are there any DBAs in the room? Yay! So DBA in the room, woohoo! And you'll notice that what I'm using is one of the brand new SQL Server module commands. Get SQL Agent Job. Here's a brilliant thing. You've got Get SQL Agent Job, which takes a parameter of name, and you've got a Get SQL Agent Job History, which takes a parameter of job name, just to confuse you. So when you fall foul of that, now you know. So we've got some jobs, and now we're going to start a few more of them. So we're going to grab our agent job results, however our agent's done. We're going to grab the database information. How big are our databases? How much space have they got? How much index space have we used? What other values have we got? Are they part of a capability group or part of a mirror? We're going to get the SQL instance level information. What version is it? What compatibility level? And we're going to get our data usage and our Windows level information. Now the Windows level information takes a fair bit of time to run because it's not been properly optimized yet. And I'll come back to that in a minute. So, as you can see, our jobs are going through. If we have a look, those are the instances that we've got. Have we managed to get any database information yet? Yep. So we've got a lot of database information. Excuse me. But of course. Okay, I have my official seen it. Zoom it. Brilliant. Except we forget to turn it on. So we've got, as you say, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Rage Against the Machine, etc. Princes, back what that? I am eclectic in my tastes. Why is that funny? But we have columns and columns and columns and columns and columns of information that we can gather. We can gather with T-SQL if we want to. We can go and investigate, see what's happening in amongst it. And come back here. So I won't be able to show you anything that. So let's pick agent job details. All still very new. This is straight out of Git, so that is pre-populated. We pick the install server, the database, and the log directory from the parameters that you give to install dbareports. And then we grab the table that we're going to fill with this particular job. We split it out to grab the schema name and the table name and load our shared functions. Some of our shared functions will do things like this. Connect SQL Server, just creates an SMO server object of a SQL already pre-populated, so we can dynamically add things. So in some of our functions, we can actually dynamically give you the parameters, where if you go connect to a server and then do dash databases, it will just be pre-filled with the databases that are in that server. We initialize a data table, and that data table is related to the table that we create. So we can base everything backwards on our database schema and automatically generate our table value parameters to enable us to insert or update data simply. Our store procedures to take advantage of the TVPs to install, and all of these jobs to create our data tables. Then we grab our instances and we just leap through them. And we say, grab me some information about these jobs. Tell me the name, the description, was it enabled, what was the last run status, what's the current run status, what was the last run outcome. And then we throw those into our TVP and end. It's done. It's as simple as that. It's really quick and powerful. And we do that for some things that don't use SQL particularly. So if we look at this, this is a T-SQL script that DBAs use to see whether we've got any suspect pages. Suspect pages are bad news, because they mean you might have corruption, and that means you might lose data. And for DBAs, losing data is a CV writing occurrence. Yeah? It's something that really needs to be avoided, because I don't want to have to go back to Jeff and say, Jeff, yeah, you know all that information you got about those nanoservers? Sorry, we've lost 30 rows of it, probably, we think, maybe. It's not good a conversation to have. So what this does is it enables us to get early warnings of that, because SQL will store this information in DBO suspect pages table. And this is not something that we can at the moment access via PowerShell and SMO. So where we can, we will, but if we can't, we will pull it out in T-SQL and add the information in. Another one is, if we look at the databases, we get the last used. So when was this database last used? It's a bit of a fudge, because what we define as last used is whether an index was used for a read or a seek or an update command. So it's possible that you might have a database with a lot of heaps without any indexes that might get miscommunicated, and you might think they're not used, but actually they are. Why do we do that? Out of those 3,672 databases that we had, I like to be precise, we had over 280 that had not been used in the previous 6 months. I immediately took them offline. I did it carefully. I've written a script for dbatools called remove SQL database safely, which automatically takes a backup of the database, restores it, does a dbcc check db, creates an agent job to restore from that particular backup. So if somebody comes back and says, excuse me, that's a read-only database that we rely on all the time, you can just go, oh, okay, run the SQL job. It's okay, we'll be back in 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It'll be back straight away. We don't have to worry about it. But also things like the last, dbcc dbinfo. When did we last, as a DBA, run a check for corruption on this database? Again, very important. We'll gather the information about suspect pages, because that's where SQL tells us the stuff's coming through. But also we gather when were we last checking it. So when I report back to my boss, he can already have looked and said, hang on a minute, you've got 200 live databases there that haven't had a dbcc check db in 6 months. How can you guarantee me that we're not going to lose any data? Am I going to have to go up in front of clients and explain why we've lost data? No. Here we go, have a look. And we'll make sure that works. All very powerful. Let's have a look, see if we've all finished our course. So all of the jobs have come through, they've all succeeded. that doesn't mean that they've all succeeded.
Yes.
It means that the agent job has succeeded. But within the log file, we might have still some errors. And because we know where we've put the log files, we can go and have a look. The reason we do that is because because we're only running PowerShell scripts through the agent, so if we generate an error, that's going to be a stopping error, which means that we might have stopped on the second database we've hit and missed out 3,770. So we write the code so that it will just carry on and chuck the error into the log file so you can gather it. We don't expect you to go and look in the log file every day and see what's going on. We've written an agent job to go and scrape the log files and find out if there's any errors and put those in the database and written reports that we can go and have a look. We're trying our best to think of everything that we can. So, we have now a look at our looks. Oh, we've got some exceptions, which might be familiar. So, I'm just going to get the content from. Okay. It's named Dir for a reason. There we go. Have we gathered all our information? Yeah, that one's just worked absolutely fine. There's no errors in there at all. But that's just to give you an idea of what we do and how we put it through. We can very simply and easily change the output from our job to be able to put even more information in this text file so that we can gather more information if we want to. So, great, brilliant, excellent, Rob. That's awesome. We've gathered all this information, we stick it in the database. The work here is done. Oh no, hang on a minute. There's some magic to do, isn't there? This is PowerBI. This is PowerBI desktop. If you or your client is not prepared to have this data up in the cloud, because it's basically in Azure, despite the fact that that is still safe and secure and encrypted and only available to access through authenticated methods, some ITSOs will still go, no, you shall not put our data in the cloud. You don't know where it will go. It might go to a different country. If those are the rules, then you must follow them. I'm not going to tell you that you must break those sort of rules. I'm not going to tell you that you must do this. I'm going to tell you it's really cool if you can persuade people to do it. I was lucky in the first place I put this in, because the need that I needed to fill was the need of the security team. Yeah? The wind blew me in the right direction. Everything lined up in a row. It was great. Because I could say to them, right, look, great. We've got to put this in PowerBI. Now, it means that only the people that we share this dashboard with are able to get to it. And I showed him by giving, I'm going to turn into security by now, by giving Jeff an email that shared the dashboard with him. And he opened it up and he had a look at the dashboard and said, oh, that's brilliant. He forwarded the email on to the next line. Who sat next to him in the security team? He said, oh, you go, you go. He clicked on the link. Access is denied. He went back up, had a look. Can I actually find a way of sharing this? He said, nope, because I've not ticked it. You are not allowed to share this dashboard with anybody else. I give you permission to look at it, but nobody else. That's brilliant. Doesn't stop shoulder surfing. Doesn't stop exporting the data out of the PowerBI report. Doesn't stop screenshots that are going to get put in different places. Doesn't stop it being accessed from places outside of your organisation or with machines that aren't authorised to get to that information. There's lots of buts there. But it is very safe and you can control the people who can access it completely. That got me a pass. That enabled me to do it, and we moved on. However, what we also did was we had these three reports. So we've got a SQL information report. We've got a beautifully coloured database SQL report. I do that absolutely deliberately. Okay? The reason it's that colour and that horrible is because what I really want is somebody good at BI to come and make it look really cool. We'll come back to that later on. And we've got this one. And this, as you can see, looks exactly like the picture with the screenshot we had. This is live, actual, real data from my estate that I anonymised and brought down with permission from my security team. That shows you exactly what happens when a SAN goes down and all of your databases fail. It shows you a list of how many agent jobs have survived or not survived for survived or not survived, or succeeded or failed as well, as you can call it. And it allows you to use a slicer to cut it out by environment. And we'll go for production, because that's going to be the first one that's going to be important to us. And then in here, we would have the list of the names of the agent jobs that we need to go and work on. So my junior DBA could walk in the morning and go and have a look at this on his PC and start working on the first jobs that came up, because he knew he could filter them by production. These are important, let's go. We've got some averages. So management, like I said, this is on the back of the wall. Management would come up and have a look, and they'd maybe go to the junior DBA, say, junior DBA, have we fixed that job for the Eagles? No, right, yeah, we're going to take some action here. We're going to make sure you do your job properly. Young Jeffrey. But if you remember, I talked about management and how they love pretty moving things. How they like stuff that alters as you click on it. You would not believe the amount of time my IT director spent the first time we saw this. Literally going round, round, change that to this, maybe that's like that. Click and click and click and click and click, because it's interactive and it's shiny and it's new. And you know what was even better? I told him he could get up his iPhone. Away he went. He was golden. So this is where we will see how good my interwebs is. We're now in the cloud. What we have is not filtered that. Thank you very much. On the left, we've got our data sets. This is the data that we have. Let me rewind a minute. So the question is, Rob, hang on a minute, we've got this data here. How do we get it into the cloud? If you are somebody who likes to click buttons, click this simple publish button. It will come up and say, give me your Power BI credentials, please. Thank you very much. Away we go. There's also a module called Power BI Pips. I can't remember exactly which one it is. I will tweet it later on. And that will allow you to take this PBIX file, which is just a Power BI desktop file, and import it up with your credentials into PowerBI.com. When you do that, you'll end up with an agent. This is the agent job one. And it's still exactly the same, still clickable, you can still see what's going on. If you have a look there, you can see that the maintenance solution failed for that particular database. That's not so good. Let's have a look at production jobs. So which jobs does Jeff need to be working on? Jeff, come on, Def Leopard groupie data exports failed. This is important. No, this is just information for you to get going. I'm glad that would be somebody that fact check on. When you've got your report and it's all set up as you like it, and perhaps you've got somebody with really good BI skills to make something that looks like this, yeah, you'll notice that each of these has got a little pin. And if you click on the pin, it says, would you like to pin this to the dashboard? Yes, please. Yes, I would. Would you like to do it to an existing dashboard or a new dashboard? You pick the dashboards we've got, and you press pin. And then you end up with a dashboard. And this is the bit that you can share. You can resize them, move them around, play with them as much as you like, and then say, right, okay, now I have all this information, I will share this dashboard with you. Very simple. There's just a share button there. Grant access to. Put in an email address. I'm a DBA. I've got a real problem with this button here. Allow recipients to share your dashboard. No, I will not allow recipients to share my dashboard. I am a DBA. I want to be in control of this data. You may not share this. But that aside, that is all you need to do, and you can send it away. And now, my security guy can come to this URL that he's got. He can log in knowing that only he's allowed to do that. If we set up a gateway back into our on-premises database with a scheduled refresh, that data will automatically be updated within PowerBI.com on a schedule that we set. And now, he can go in and ask this question. How many servers? 145. In Bolton, 55. With XP, PowerShell, enabled, true. Yeah, true. 19. Hang on, what was it? Oh yes. 5 version. Oh, that's not good. Unknown stack. That's 10. What was that? 20 seconds? 15 seconds? With a misspelling? Yeah. How cool is that? How much better is that than 4 hours and 14 or 15 man hours of interruptions to everything that we're doing? I just think it's fabulous. You're welcome. So, maybe we also need to know about our clients. So, which clients in Excel? Well, that's not quite right. Which might be because I'm in the wrong port. Let's try that instead. Which clients? This will take the next. Which clients are in Excel? Doesn't quite always work as you think it should. What I want to get out of this is a list of clients, which, you know, let's face it, I probably have got a list of clients, but they're not really in the way that I want them. This is the beauty of Power BI. The other beauty, especially as a presenter, is that it changes all the time. So queries that I will have tested last week won't work today. I've learnt to check the night before, and even then they don't always work. But it's always improving. It's always iterating through. The other thing is that with these sort of reports, it gets to learn what your users want. So it'll begin to give them suggestions and pre-fetch things back and tell them, oh, you want this. So over time, as it learns what they want, gradually it gets quicker and quicker and quicker, doing the right thing for them. Which means even less questions for you as a DBA or whatever.
Programming for managers.
Programming for managers, absolutely, absolutely. So, show me server name in. God, no, can't type through. Next up, that serves name. That serves. Attack. Ah, no, okay. said, they don't always work. There we go, it's because Metallica data is in Bolton. So now we know. So Jeff represents the Eagles. Okay? And he says, when was my data last backed up? Very good questions. Don't even need to ask me as a DBA. You just ask your client account manager. Client account manager comes here and says, when was last backup date for the Eagles?
Last backup and server name are still properties. Is it idiot proof, like show me the name of the servers
In
Boston?
Okay. Please hold, Paul. Let me just tell you that if this was real and actual data, that somebody would be losing their job because our very important client, the Eagles, have not had their data backed up for nearly a year. This is merely because I can't be bothered to keep working out which things I need to change. My script to update this data to make it realistic is about 300 rows already, so I haven't gone all the way through. But you can see the benefit and the power of that. So, sir, your question was?
Show me the name of the servers in Boston. No, the name of the servers.
Right.
Huh?
I'll give you the number of servers involved. I'll give you the name. And the reason for that is because I'm lazy. Okay? If I wasn't lazy, I would have gone into here. No, that's a lie. I would have gone into here and I would have found server name, and you can add an alias, which isn't where it used to be. I love it when they change stuff.
I get the idea.
But you can see what I mean. So yes, absolutely, it will carry on learning what it is that your users are wanting to do. But you as a report writer or a BI guy or whoever, because believe me, remember, this is because it's so simple that even Rob could do it. And when I started this, I had zero BI experience. You can work out that we don't look for server name, we look for name of server. How we put it.
Can you, I saw that you had a one query come out as a graph and you asked as table equals table. Can you do things like ask, because you said people like pretty colours, can you ask it to say, like, I want a bar graph with less servers older than a year in red?
No.
Useless, I don't want it.
On the other hand, look at it from programming perspective. That's a view.
Yeah.
This is model, view model.
Uh-huh.
So what you can do is you can take those queries as deep as your logic will allow, and it will do its best to work out what they are. You can, if we look at how many servers in Bolton by version, as soon as you got that, it goes, oh look, obviously you want that as a bar chart. I go, no, I don't. I want it as a column. Thank you. Oh, no, changed my mind. Piece of advice. When you need something from your DBA, the best thing to do is provide him with some sugary goodness. With that in mind, I would always ask for a donut chart. So, simple, as soon as you've got your data, then you just do as whatever, and it will then start putting it in the thing that you want. You can't change the colours.
No. Okay, can you then export that as like a pivot table or something to then be able to do something else with it later on?
So you would do that not from the dashboard, but from here. is you can right click and see the records and see the data,
Okay.
and then you can export that out. So, DBA reports is what it's called. It lives on GitHub. Like I said, it was released on Friday. It's something I've been doing for about 15 months now since I first started. The main thing we started first with the DBA reports is the bit I haven't shown you. In fact, I'll let you read that. That's on GitHub. We want people to come and get involved. They don't necessarily have to be SQL people, because some of the problems that we need to solve are scripting, PowerShell problems. Like I said, getting the Windows Server information is taking far too long at the moment. We need to improve that. So these are the guys that are involved at the moment. We've got a website and a Slack channel, and we're all on GitHub, and we're really looking at moving this forward into something useful. But while we're doing that, what I forgot was that as well as having it all pretty, we can fire the information out from PowerShell. So get the DBR agent jobs. You can tell we just changed the names of these. This is now giving me all the information for the agent jobs and DBA reports module. This job will return information about the servers listed in the DBA instance list table in the bunch of DBA reports database, and it will log to ctemp ps monday DBA reports /logs. All good information we need to know. We know what it's called, we know what the category is. We can get our configuration. So we know that we're sat on SQL Server 2016 Node 1. We know who the user was who created it. We know what the configuration file is. We can get all of our instance lists straight out of PowerShell. As we improve, we're going to start adding an environment filter onto here, or a client filter, whatever else that people start thinking they need it. Now our PowerShell scripts can be get DBR instance, environment production, for each. Send the data to Jeff. No, don't do that. But you can also get all of the information that we hold in the DBA reports database for, in this situation, SQL 2014 Server 12 R2. Bit of a mouthful, but there's quite a lot of information. That command's also got, you can print it out to screen, or we can print it out to a text file. So now we've got it in a text file, now we can send it somewhere, put it somewhere, convert it into an Excel, turn it into pretty patterns, give it to managers if they like pretty colours. If we're not allowed to have it in PowerBI. And that's the rest of it, that's the so we're very new. Matter of days old. Please feel free to go and download it from Git. Put it in place, have a play in your lab. Do not put it into production. Okay? Test it as much as you like. If you're happy with it and you don't want to put it in production, that's great. But it's not my responsibility to test the code in your environment. It's only been written for a certain level of environments so far. It's only gathering information. It's not, there is nothing changing there apart from adding one database and 6 jobs. But it's for you guys to test. Can it be expanded? Yes, it can. The previous versions of this, which I call DBA database, are in use in data centers around Europe, 2 or 3 of them, to gather information, not just about SQL, but about a whole variety of servers that we've got to be able to do the same sort of thing. I'm a member leader of the PowerShell virtual chapter of PASS, which is a SQL Server. So DBA friend. Who? This is probably only relevant to you because the rest of them won't care. But seriously, Jeff, you've done sessions for us at Virtual Chat, haven't you?
What?
PowerShell Virtual Chat. You did your checks on,
yeah.
So it is about developing SQL and PowerShell together, but we also have a lot of generic PowerShell stuff because PowerShell and SQL guys and girls, apart from a very few, it's all a bit of a mystery because the SQL Server module, the SQL Server product team only really started working in PowerShell again in the last 3 or 4 months. We've really, as a product, fallen behind the rest of you guys. We only have 46 commanders, which is why there's so many guys out there who've written their own and they're all up and good. I love that picture. It's so good. But questions? You've asked some. Anybody got any more questions? Just photos.
It's shown out. What license is the Git code on the
Mint.
Okay. I have got some.
Free as in speech, free as in beer.
Wait.
Look it up. That's what it means. You want to look up those definitions as well. Free as in speech, free as in beer.
You want to read the entire GitHub licenses?
No, only the mint ones.
Yeah.
Just do the definition. It means that you're absolutely free to use it, as long as you keep the credit in. You're absolutely free to package it and put it in something else, as long as you keep the credit in. You're absolutely free to modify it, as long as you keep the credit in. And we would love you to come join us. Make it better.
My initial thought when you started explaining it was why have you not put it as a part of System Center? Why is it not in Operations Manager? Why is it not in Configuration Manager?
I am not the man to ask for that.
Okay.
Ask another man.
Okay.
What we wanted to do, well, you've heard the story about where we came from, and that was the need that we needed to fill. With dbareports, what we want to do is to continue to provide good practice, well thought out, easy to use PowerShell for SQL people to enable them to gather that information. Because with a lot of your System Center and configuration management and other tools, sometimes your DBA team aren't allowed access to them. They're not allowed access to the reports that they need or the information that they need, and it's all locked down and tied down. But also, you've got other places where it doesn't exist. They don't have System Center. So this is a one-size-fits-all because it's in the control of the DBA team. I know where my instances are, I know which account I need to connect to them, I can create a database, I can run PowerShell, I can go. Doesn't matter what other tools are out there, we've got that information.
Right.
And it's free.
If you include it in Operations Manager or even as a solution in the System Center suite, you're bound to an Operations Manager monitoring. And let's say the Navision guys want to use this. It's more than just monitoring this.
This is not monitoring.
No.
So let me admit that, sorry. That's a really, really important point. This is not monitoring. Yes, you could use some of that information to go and start creating yourself sort of event handlers out of that information to go and grab information and put it back. Absolutely, go ahead, go for it. But this is a tool for reporting on the static level at that moment in time. It's a CMDB with a bit more.
Do you know Hadoop or Splunk?
Yeah.
You can abuse it for monitoring, sure.
Absolutely.
But it isn't intended for.
The reason I'm so very, very clear about that is because some of the people that are currently contributing and some of the people who will be contributing in the future work for companies who do monitoring.
Yep.
So we have to be really clear and precise that it is not monitoring.
How are you currently, because you've got the SQL agent jobs doing the data pools, how are you just executing, is it only within the context of SQL? Are you running just T-SQL, or are you somehow then running PowerShell in those SQL agent jobs to get other data external from SQL?
Let me show you that. So if we grab the database information job, it's running a step, and the step is the PowerShell step that is running this PowerShell file, PS1. If we look at that PS1, it's just running PowerShell. It's just SMO. with the odd bit of, where we can't get the information, let's know. We run a little bit.
Just, yeah.
But can we go and gather information? It's just PowerShell. PowerShell, you can gather all the information you want. We do. Yeah, in SMO, in SQL Server 2012 for server, there's 212 properties. Yeah, so the world is yours. I'm going to go out to any other operating system or stuff.
Guys, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm finished. Bye. Thank you.
Right.
Really sorry to interrupt, but the pizza is getting cold.